also Tumblr, YouTube, and other various internet portals. This is Katie West, and I'm now going to be answering all of your questions. Just so you know, I do feel quite awkward talking to a computer screen, so keep that in mind, and we'll get on with it. Okay, first question. Well, I think probably I really like to shoot at Ontario provincial parks, or, national parks, that sort of thing. I like nature. I also liked it when I used to have a smaller camera and could shoot in public more, really quickly, but I don't really do that as much anymore, which is unfortunate. Oh, okay, next question. I'd like to go to, in the next little while, San Francisco, LA, New York, London, England. I'd like to go back to Japan. I'd like to go back to Korea. Well, I haven't really had any hilarious moments in hotels, mostly because usually I'm there by myself, and I don't really have anyone to spot for me, so doing the sort of things that I might want to do are a bit more difficult because no one's there to say, Katie, don't walk down the hallway naked because there's a guy coming right around the corner. So I don't really do that as much as I would like, but yeah, I do like shooting in hotels though. Obviously Patrick Stewart. There's no one in this entire world I would rather have crazy, I'm trying not to swear, sex with than Patrick Stewart. No one. No one beats Patrick Stewart. Pat. Working on Anoko was really fun, but it was sort of difficult at the same time because, well, obviously Jack was in Japan, but as I was doing the majority of the work with it, he was actually back in the United States, and it was really hard to get a hold of him because he didn't have an internet connection all the time, so I'd be sending him all these, copies and all these, screenshots saying, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And then, 2 weeks later, he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have an internet, but I think it looks good, and I'm like, oh, okay. But, so it was a little bit difficult, the whole process of putting the actual magazine together, but I think it worked out pretty well. And I also didn't know InDesign, so I had to learn it, and that was sort of a slow process. There's things I wanted to know how to do that I spent a lot of time Googling and watching tutorial videos. But now I think I get it pretty well, sort of. I think if I ever were to make a document on InDesign again, it would probably be a lot better. But I think we did a pretty good job with the magazine, so I really like it. I hope you do. File under things you do not know about me just from looking at me on the internet. I'm a very shy person in real life, and I blush very, very easily, so I have never gone up to a stranger and talked to them before because chances are they're not as shy as I am. So that doesn't happen ever, and I don't think I would ever do that. No. I guess to answer that question, I would have to first determine what the original intent of me sharing so much of myself online was. And in the beginning, it just sort of happened. I think I liked sharing things with strangers and never having to really be responsible for that sharing in a way because I didn't owe anything to these strangers. But then the more I did it, I would get emails saying, thank you for sharing this. It made me feel really nice to know that I wasn't alone in feeling the way I do, or that experience really reminded me of something that I just went through recently, or blah blah blah. So I think because of that, that's why I continued sharing. But in terms of ever losing sight of that and becoming self-important, that doesn't really happen. If anything, it's the opposite. The more followers I get, the less I feel like sharing and talking about myself, because I'm like, oh my god, so many people, what do they care what I say? But apparently they do, which is weird. So, yeah, the opposite of what you said happens. Yeah, okay. Probably having a crap load of really amazing people around me. Whether that is on the internet or in my real life or even at work. Um, there's just a lot of really amazing people in my life, which is kind of, well, it's good. It's a good thing. Honestly, I fear for the Pistons. I don't think anything they do will make a difference this year. I think they're starting to build up a younger team, but I don't even know. I think they're just. I don't think they'll do anything this year. But the Lions. Now, the Lions should have won that game, and it's so obvious. I mean, what did they say? What was the rule? Well, it should have been a complete pass, but oh yeah, they said he lost possession of it or something like that, which is so stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Lions are going to win this year, not like the Super Bowl or anything, and maybe not make the playoffs, but I'm sure they'll win a couple games, and that's the most we can hope for the Lions. Favorite thing. What was it? Favorite thing I've ever done or something? Favorite thing I've ever done. No, thing to do. Favorite thing to do. Favorite thing to do is probably to watch television shows on DVD, a lot of them in a row, and eat, snack. I like to eat a lot. Eating is really, really great. I think I'm hungry now. Anyways, the weirdest thing I've ever done. Well, I once, when I was at my friend John's house in San Francisco a couple summers ago, we used D&D dice to determine, first of all, which series of Star Trek we were going to watch, which disc it was going to come from, and what number on that disc, which episode number. So that might have been a bit weird, though I thought it was kind of awesome. So I guess it depends on your perspective. And also my favorite person, can I choose a cat? Because my favorite people in the whole world are my cats, Bruce and Logan. Bruce is right over there, and Logan is sleeping on my bed because he's really, really lazy. I'm kind of afraid actually that his muscles might start to atrophy, so sometimes I go and just like push him around, just, so he gets a bit of exercise. Okay. I actually have a really, really horrible memory and can't really remember much of anything from my childhood at all. Some people like to say that I'm trying to block out some sort of horrible thing that happened to me, but I don't think that's true. I just have a really bad memory. I was a synchronized swimmer for 12 years, and that probably supplied a bulk of my favorite memories. And also I had a cottage in this place called Port Elgin on Lake Huron, and that also supplied a bunch of good memories for me. That's where I learned to swim. That's where I had my first boyfriend, Scott Miller, and my first kiss, and I thought it was really gross, and I was like, ew, get your tongue out of my mouth. What else? Yeah, so those were good memories. And thus concludes this episode of Questions with Katie. But I just made that name up now. I hope it's good. I think if I do this more often, I'll get better at it. But today was really horribly awkward. So, yeah. And I hope you all have a great night.